Alice Cooper is the man. He put on one of the best live shows that I've ever seen in my entire life. And that was like half a decade ago at this point in time. And every time that I hear somebody has more recently gone to one of his shows, the man still has it. But here's the thing. If you want to go to a good rock concert, you go check out Alice Cooper. If you want poignant and pointed political advice, take the words of the man himself. I don't think rock and roll and politics belong in the same bed together. Exactly, man. It's like taking childcare advice from a personal trainer. Makes zero sense at all. You go to the specialists where you find them. And while Alice is more learned than your regular workaday metalhead, he at least has the understanding that, yeah, I'm not an expert on these issues. In fact, if you're looking for political guidance from people that wear makeup and spew fake blood across a stage, you're probably a little bit more lost than you'll understand, okay? In a new interview with Creative Loafing Tampa Bay, Alice Cooper was asked how his relationship with Ted Nugent is holding up right now, considering all the stuff that the legendary guitarist has said in the last few years. He responded, "Ted and I grew up in Detroit, and he's always been the mouth that roared. When he gets going, nobody can stay with him. I kind of look at him as his own entity, of course, but when you're talking about Ted Nugent, the guy's been more entrenched. It's kind of strange, right? Because as great as Cat Scratch Fever, Great White Buffalo, and all of those hits from the 70s, and his time and his work with the damn Yankees, kind of been overshadowed by his political presence. Okay, so it's gotten to a point where the scales have kind of flipped, where he's more of a political talking head as opposed to a legendary guitarist, but 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, right? He continued, "I don't ever talk politics. I hate politics. I don't think rock and roll and politics belong in the same bed together, but a lot of people think it does, because we have a voice and we should use our voice. But again, rock and roll should be anti-political. I think when my parents started talking about politics, I would turn the Rolling Stones as loud as I could. I don't want to hear politics, and I still feel that way. My music and my show is designed to give you a vacation from CNN. You know what I mean? I'm not preaching anything up there, and I'm not knocking anybody. If I do a thing like on Elected, which we would always do during the elections, I'd bring out Trump and Clinton to fight, and both of them would get wiped out. And that's what's funny about it. If you're in the political theater, you'd better be able to take a joke, so that's okay. I don't mind the satire of it, but I don't ever go up there and tell you who to vote for. And that's fine, man, because yeah, you go to a rock show for a bit of escapism, okay? But then again, hey man, I have my specific taste when it comes to music. I may only be 34 years old, but if somebody is a part of a band that wasn't formed before my 34 years on this mortal coil, I'm probably not going to give them a chance because, well, they're probably trash in comparison if we're being completely honest. And speaking of which, we got Tom Morello from Rage for the Machine urges metalheads to get their crap together and act to change the world. Oh, great. Fantastic. What are we talking about here, Tom? During a press conference at past week's Hellfest in Clisson, France, okay, Tom Morello, the guitarist, songwriter, and political activist who's known for his work with Rage for the Machine, Audio Such, and his solo act, spoke about why he has spent his career not only making music and not tuning his guitar, but also making a difference in the lives of others. Yeah, making people predisposed to hate Rage Against the Machine because of their non-stop commie worship. Across 21 records, there's really one message and thread through all of my music, and that is the world is not going to change itself. That's up to you, and by you, I literally mean you, the people watching on your thing and your thing. Very insightful, Tom. I'm so glad you're the one who's trying to spark a revolution. People are the ones who change, and they often are, but you are not witnesses to history. You are the agents of history. History is not something that happened. It's something you make whenever there has been a progressive, radical, even revolutionary, positive change for the better. It comes from the people who are no different than anyone in this room or any of the audiences that you're writing for or that your videos are for. It's not exactly a message that's going to resonate all that well. And of all places, France, they had a very famous revolution that didn't end up turning out all that well for the people. You remember the Reign of Terror? Do you understand history? No, he's a communist. Why would I expect anything different? Once you have that realization that you do have your hands on the wheels of history and of the planet, and you want to make it more peaceful, a more just, a more equitable, a more anti-racist, oh my God, what a hack, a more environmentally sound place, There's no one to blame if it doesn't happen, but you are not standing up for. Oh, I'm sorry, that not standing up. Oh my God, shut up. Morello has been repeatedly said that social change has always been the main motivation for making his music. Oh, that's why it's all been so insufferable. Also talked about where he finds his inspiration for his songwriter. Che Guevara. Okay, Fidel Castro, all of these petty tyrants. Like, come on. In a world that is increasingly divided, who's driving that divide, Tom? Who's driving it? At any historical moment, you stand in a place where you live, and you stand in the place where you were. That's it. There's some people are like, you guys made rage records 30 years ago, and now look at the horrible state of the world. Imagine what it would be like if you didn't make rage record 30 years ago. Well, yeah, the world would be a much more melodically sound place. Okay, we wouldn't have to hear your fuzzy hackery. At every moment, you do what you can, when you can, where you can. And that's the way I look at it. The arc of history is a long one, and there are very, very challenging times now, certainly in my country, and I know here as well. Yeah, because your radical prime minister, or I guess, no, it's a president over there. They do have a prime minister, different types of governmental structure. And of course, Macron, yeah, he's about to lose an election, finally. So, of course, why is Tom Morello all up in arms about this? Is because his beloved progressives around the world, yeah, they're losing the levers of power. Sucks to suck, I guess. So now it's time for Metalheads to get it together. Asked if he sometimes feels overwhelmed by everything that's going on in the world. Tom said, it is overwhelming. And from the climate stuff to Gaza, I'm sorry, what? There's a lot. Oh my God, the climate stuff, very articulate. And Gaza, I would be sympathetic with you on that issue if you're going to go ahead and take up a free Palestine stance, but I've also heard your other lines of logic, and you can go ahead and protest over there, okay? Nothing hurts somebody's underlying cause more than overt idiots. What I look at is, like, today, I'm going to do everything I can to do several things, like charge exorbitant prices for your concerts. Yeah, okay. I want us to be able to play the best guitar that I can, to sing the best that I can, to have a band, the Freedom Fighter Orchestra. Oh, deliver the goods in a way that is gonna be compelling and artistically meaningful moment. And if I do that right, the message that rides on, that is gonna touch somebody. Yeah, didn't you advocate for the Clintons? So yeah, if you're gonna be asking people to go out and touch somebody, well, now there's 70,000 people out there at this year's Hellfest. I don't know if it touches 7 of them, or 7,000 of them, or whatever, but I know over the course of 30 years doing that, the thing I described to you has had repercussions far beyond what I could have ever imagined it could. Yeah, of course. Now, we've read a whole bunch of his statements, okay, and there's so many more that are up there, but let's be completely honest, man. This is as vacuous as it gets. You need to go out there and you need to be the change in the world that you want to see, okay? We need to do something. The world is so divided right now. Why don't you pay money to hear me proselytize you with things that you're likely to hear from the local goof out there on the corner, or from your radical social studies teacher in high school? Like, I guess this was probably cool and cutting edge back in the early 90s, on the tail end of the Reagan and Bush regimes. I guess was probably a really groundbreaking message back then, but at this point in time, when we've had neocons and neolibs work hand in hand to go ahead and undercut the working class, and you're going to go out there and champion workers' causes in front of people that paid hundreds of dollars to hear you perform on the best guitars possible, hits from before these young revolutionaries were born. It's like, come on, man, it all falls on deaf ears, which, those are the best ones to listen to Rage Against the Machine to. But none of this is unique. This isn't insightful commentary on behalf of Tom Morello. So, you can go ahead and take my commentary or leave it. I don't care. I don't profess to be anything of a musical expert. I'm going to go ahead and tell you my tastes. I prefer Alice Cooper over Rage Against the Machine. I know, big shocker, right? And Audio Slave, the best part of that band, checked out about a decade ago. So just like musical output, I will go ahead and side with Alice Cooper on this one. Okay, politics and rock and roll don't belong in the same bed together, and Tom Morello and a guitar also don't belong on the same stage together. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.